Hi, this is Steve McDaniel, and I wanted to just kind of briefly go over something on home insurance that is a common objection that I see among a number of people around here, and that has to do with the issue of replacement cost versus market value. I commonly will hear an objection whenever I come back with an insurance quote of the insurance replacement cost value being much more than what the person paid for the home. And so one of the common misconceptions is, well, why is it that I need $200,000 worth of coverage on my $130,000 home, or some kind of similar ratio? And that's going to, of course, vary from part of the country to another part of the country as well. If you were in California, you wouldn't see that type of situation because the land values are so high as compared to the cost of the building. A lot of times, in fact almost all the time, the replacement cost value for a home in California is going to be much less than what you paid for the property. Whereas here in the North Texas area, the land value is really very cheap as compared to what you find there. And so oftentimes, even though insurance does not cover the land itself, even after you factor in the cost of the land and the cost of the house, a lot of times the replacement cost value is still much greater than those two combined. So what's the difference there? Why the difference? The big difference is with market value, that is completely dependent on what someone is willing to pay for your home. And that can be determined a lot of times by what the entire economy is doing. For example, in the current economy we have right now, if you're a buyer, you ought to be really happy because there are some incredible deals on homes right now. But if you're trying to sell your home, different story. You're probably not going to get as much for it as you would like or maybe even need to. So it's definitely a buyer's market right now. But that has nothing to do with how much it's going to cost to insure your home. How much insurance you need on your home is going to depend on what it costs to rebuild your house. Has nothing to do with how much somebody's willing to pay for it. It's all about the cost of materials and the cost of labor in order to build your home in a worst case scenario, which would be, in our area, most commonly would be a tornado. So let's say, for example, a tornado comes in and it wipes out 6 or 8 blocks of homes right there together. First of all, guess what's going to happen to the cost of material? It's going to be much higher than it normally would be in a normal situation, because the demand goes up. Goes back to the old concept of supply and demand. The demand goes up, so all of a sudden the cost of materials goes up, but also the cost of labor goes up, because now then you've got all the carpenters that are busy and now they can pick their own jobs. So it has very, very little to do with it. So a lot of times people just say, well, why in the world do I need $200,000 worth of coverage on my home? I didn't pay anywhere near that much for it. Well, that's why. It's not because the insurance company's out to pull more money out of your pocket just to sell you a higher premium. That's not what it's really about. It's really about making sure you have enough money in your policy to cover for whatever damages there are. And believe me, that happens. There have been numerous situations where people have been underinsured, and that's why insurance companies require this now, is because what happens is if somebody's underinsured, a lot of times that person is going to go back to the insurance company. Shouldn't you have known how much insurance I need? And so they'll come back and sue the insurance companies. That's what's happened in the past, and that's why they require that you have a certain minimum amount of insurance for replacement costs. So they are both market driven, but just in two completely different ways. One is how much somebody wants to pay for your home for market value. Replacement cost is how much is it going to cost for your materials and for the labor to rebuild your home. So hopefully that helps. We'll go into some other area as well at another time.